Do you know why you're here, son?
I understand this is about the quarantine, sir.
Well, we have a problem. Things aren't good. I need your best. There's a situation in the quarantine that was unexpected. Things have gotten out of hand. I need to know if your men are ready.
We're always ready, sir. We're just waiting to hear the call.
The call is coming now.
And that was Zombie Royale. Thanks to our special guests who have allowed us to take a peek at it. And I'm going to introduce our guests one by one. Actually, Colby's going to do the honors. And Colby, this is welcome to my show.
Thank you. I'm Colby Doler. I'm the writer and director of Zombie Royale. This here is Ramon Bennett. He plays one of the characters in the film, Toonie, and he also is a production assistant. Then we have January McCormick. She is the head production coordinator. And then lastly but not least, we have James Murphy, and he is a special effects and makeup supervisor.
So I met Colby some time ago, and he kind of told me about his little independent project he had worked on. It was a zombie movie. And what was the name of that zombie movie?
That's called The Zombie Vlogs.
The Zombie Vlog. So a lot of that is online now, or explain what you've done with that so far.
Originally, it was going to come out to be a series of web episodes, but they ended up being really long, so we put them together as a film. And it was online for some time, but we took it off later. And now it's going to be included Zombie Royale, because Zombie Royale is actually a sequel to this.
Sweet. Okay, so can you tell us a little backstory relating to the Zombie Vlogs?
The Zombie Vlogs is about two friends who wake up to find out that overnight they were stuck in a quarantine area and they can't find anybody, and the only people they eventually do find are zombies. They're trying to kill them. And that's the Zombie Vlogs, and that's the Zombie Vlogs, and it takes place throughout like 3 or 4 days. And at the end of it, the whole thing's found footage, by the way. And at the end of it, it kind of just leads off to nowhere. You don't really know what happens, and that's where Zombie Royale picks up. And Zombie Royale is not found footage. Okay,
so you managed to do that film, and what did you do? How did you do that film? Like, what kind of equipment you used? What was the budget looking like? What inspired you to do it too? Well, I want to know all that stuff. I'm nosy.
No, that's fine. What inspired me to do it? Well, I wanted to make a film, and I had no money, so I decided to do found footage, and which is sort of a cop out, but it's still a respectable medium in some way.
Explain to our viewers what found footage is.
Found footage is whenever you watch a movie like Cloverfield or the Diary of the Dead, Blair Witch Project, stuff like that, where somebody's carrying around a camera capturing an event meant to document it, and then later on, supposedly somebody finds the footage and then they screen it and you're watching it what actually happened. That's what found footage is. And
a little bit like Paranormal Activities, that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then now you do this, the first film, I heard you presented it in the theater?
We had a special screening of it, but it was unofficial, and that was pretty much for cast and crew. But we have no public showings of it at all.
Okay. And so now the second film, which you're going to include the first film, explain a little bit of what that movie's about.
Zombie Royale picks up exactly where Zombie Vlogs leaves off, and but the movie stands alone as an autonomous film in general. You do not need to see the Zombie Vlogs, and this movie is about one of the two friends who were left in there actually getting rescued by the military, and he's immune to the zombie virus, and they actually want to use him to go back inside to get a package that the military lost, which is also apparently the key to fixing everything. And they want him to go back in and find it. And the whole time, he doesn't want to go back in, but he also feels like he might be able to find his friend Lucas that he lost.
Okay. Now, what inspired you to get into this? Like, did you go to film school? Did you?
I did not go to film school. I've worked on several films in the past, and I've been an aspiring filmmaker for a while. And pretty much whenever I made Zombie Vlogs, that's what spawned Zombie Royales, because I had something to go off of with this film, and that's the reason I chose Zombie Royale, is because like I already had a storyline to go off of. I felt like I could expound upon it, and so that's why I went with that. Now, I have not been to film school. I've not had any formal film training. I've had only experience that I've gone off with, which, in my opinion, is the better way to go.
So now, do you find that to be a hindrance at all? Kind of what I mean by that is, I worked in film, and initially I didn't go to school for it either, and I did do storyboards ever since I was 15, and then I moved into the film industry. What I ended up finding out was the terminology was so above and beyond, and most of the production guys, they know all the terminology and the positions of everybody, and you try not to step on anybody else's toes because you don't know if you're supposed to be helping in those departments and that type of thing. It's a very specific, the film industry is run in a very specific manner. You doing your project, was that an issue? Did you find having crew that may have had previous experience, did any of that hinder the fact that you didn't have any knowledge previous?
I think had I not been so passionate about film in general, that would have been a problem, but I have literally immersed myself in the film world for such a long time that lingo has not been an issue for me and stuff like that. I know my...
What about equipment and stuff? Has that been an issue?
That is the only issue that I've actually had, is equipment, like stuff that I just haven't had experience with, stuff that I didn't go to school for to learn myself. But so far, I have had no obstacle I couldn't get over, and nothing that has even been a hindrance at all.
Cool.
So luckily, everything's been working out.
Sweet. Now, we're going to get back to you. We're going to have some of your guests also speak. So if you want to go to our first victim.
Oh, no.
So, Ramon.
Yes, how you doing?
So tell us a little bit about you and your background and kind of how did you get caught up in this project as a Zombie Royale movie?
I've been working with Colby for a little while now. He has a few films that he's done, so I've been wanting to help him out. He's been having a dream for a while, so I'm like, I'll help out in this one. I'll appear in this one. Just giving a little role here and there. And this is another project that I want to help him out in. And it seems like it's taken off pretty good.
So you haven't had private experience either, then?
No training or anything like that. Like the only real acting experience I've had is just working with Colby.
Cool. Does this inspire you to get deeper involved in the film industry, or is this kind of like a part-time, well, I'm going to do this for Colby and then I'm out?
No, I'll help out Colby like as long as possible. Like if there are things down the road, like even if it's not Colby, I'd like to do that as well. But if Colby's ever like, hey, I got something else going on, you want to be part of it? I'm down. I want to be right there with him.
That's cool. So in this project, give a little bit of background as to what you're doing on this project.
Well, I'm just one of the characters. His name is Toonie. There's not much about him. He's kind of, I guess, low key at the moment. I don't think many people know what he is as of yet.
I mean, I can explain him if you want.
Well, no, he's just a crazy guy. If you want to.
Yeah, he's
one of the crazy survivors.
Yeah,
he's a survivor that really doesn't have any. Toonie is a survivor who doesn't have any restraint on. Because there's no rules in the quarantine, pretty much, and he's kind of allowed to do whatever he wants. And he's a womanizer, and he's also a little like crackpot. He's like Christopher Lloyd's character in Dennis the Menace, if you know what I'm saying. If that's a obscure reference.
Okay.
That was very obscure.
I'm going to have to put a link to where somebody can find that, but go ahead.
But yeah, and also I'm just I'm helping out a little bit behind the scenes. Nothing too major, but just helping out with cast and crew, just a few things here and there.
And how far along are we in this production?
We have a few.
We just did principal casting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are still in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
In pre-production.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did a zombie school where still getting extras. We're still getting zombies. We need more zombies and extras.
Okay. So you guys used this terminology before, zombie school.
Yes.
Let's elaborate a little bit on that for our viewers.
James Murphy.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go to James. James, live via satellite. We're gonna have to speak to James. So James, tell us about the traffic conditions for Zombie School.
No. Basically, Zombie School is just where we take all of our extras that are going to be zombies. And what I like to do first off, and I kind of got this idea from watching Greg Nicotero do his Zombie School in The Walking Dead, is just, get them in there, see how they walk and how they move, how they think a zombie should look. And then we sort of try to take the ones that are really good at it and mold them a little bit into what we want to see out of it. And there's some that have potential, and we'll take them and coach them along and show them the way we want them to move. And the ones that are doing really well, we'll put in the front ground. The ones that aren't doing so well, we're probably still going to keep them. They're going to be like our Layer 3 zombies, the ones that are coming out of the woods and laying on the ground. Basically, stuff like that. We run them through a couple of different courses, everywhere from sitting down and standing up, how a zombie would do that. Everything from, let's see, we had them in the room at one point, just wandering around, and then we would make a sound in the next room to see how they reacted to that sound and sort of moving towards it. And we're really just teaching them what a zombie's motivation is. It's just hunger, the need to feed. Other than that, they're just mindlessly walking around the city. So
that goes to another question. Are you guys just using the traditional lore of zombiehood?
What do you mean by that? Like,
as far as I can remember relating to zombies, and I think my first zombie movie was a movie called Zombie.
Oh, they had the one where he fights the shark.
I don't remember. Maybe. There's a scene that I remember.
Yeah.
Where this woman's being chased by a zombie and her head gets grabbed and is getting pulled towards a piece of wood that was broken from the door.
Yeah.
And you see that piece of wood just go right into her eye. It was nasty, but I was haunted, and I was probably about 6 years old.
Yeah.
Watching that, and you see all the gush. And, well, I digress. Okay, so Zombie School, how people react and stuff like that with zombies. So,
yeah.
Now you're doing the makeup, you're doing the special effects.
Yes.
How's that been for you?
I love doing it. It's not even like a job. It's more of a hobby than anything, but it's really fun to do, especially when you get someone. A person is like a blank canvas when they sit in front of you. You just look at this person, you're like, okay, what can I do? You pick through the latex pieces, and you sort of come up with your own idea, sometimes on the spot,
Okay. And so what has been the most challenging thing for you on that?
The most challenging thing for me would be creating the look of someone who's been burned, and that would be the way that they had died. The way I like to create the zombie is to look at a person and tell a story with each one of their scars. They're not just random scars and blood everywhere, because it's unrealistic. You want to create a story of how this person died, and you want each scar to sort of match up. It's got to all be consistent. And the hardest part about that is creating the special effects to a point where it's not over the top, and it still looks good and looks realistic enough to be believable.
Okay. So, so what's next for you? Like, now that you have some of the cast and crew put together, and actually, there's more on the effects side.
Oh, okay.
Are you in terms of the casting? Are you guys getting people that are missing limbs, that type of stuff? I mean, have you gone that far?
Our zombies are a little bit different than that. See, these zombies are on the brink of death, much like your 28 Days Later zombies. They're not exactly dead, but they're right there on the cusp of life and death. So a missing limb zombie, it is possible with this movie because their brain has been affected by the virus, and it's shut down everything except for the basic functions. So if a zombie were to get its arm cut off or lose a leg or something like that, they wouldn't exactly be able to feel it. But they wouldn't just show up with a missing limb, because it's just not threatening to have a one zombie coming at you. It's kind of a, oh no, he's going to grab me. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Okay, and now we have January next to you. We're going to have a little bit of background on January.
Hi, I'm January. I don't really have any previous movie experience. I did work with Colby on the zombie vlogs, and I did have a very small part as a survivor in the zombie vlogs. I'm not an actor or anything by trade. I actually work at a large telecommunications company. What I bring to the table for these guys is organization. I do the organization of the casting and the crew and the events and the location and the scouting and attending city council meetings and making sure that everything is nailed down, that we have all of our ducks in a row. And I keep these guys in line and make sure they're on task and on schedule.
Which is something I need more than anyone else.
Exactly.
So, do you do the call sheets, or is that what you're going to be doing also? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So you basically have to teach yourself the whole business side of the industry.
Exactly, and I do most of that. Google is my friend. So Colby comes to me and says, "Hey, I drove by this really awesome place today. I need you to find out who owns it." So,
you're doing the scouting too.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Oh, so she's the everything. She's the everything girl. I get it now.
Exactly. So I find out who owns the place, find out how I can contact them, and then I start smoozing them to let us use their place, hopefully for free.
So that brings to another question. On the first film, you said no money. So how's this production any different than the first production?
We've been doing some fundraisers. We had an Indiegogo campaign that we did, and we raised a little bit of money from that. We have some private investors that are investing some money in with us. We're also trying to partner with a production company that's supposed to give some financial backing. And then Colby's dad actually works in the VA. He's a part of the VA in Grantville, the Grantville's Veterans Association. So we've partnered with them, and they're a fiscal sponsor for our movie, and we're using a portion of the proceeds to build a memorial for them in the city of Grantville.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And then I say that with that reaction only because films are films, and usually it's a certain intent and purpose. Maybe whether it's being the story that you want to tell, or you just want to get in the industry, that type of thing. But that's really cool that you're putting some of the proceeds towards something that's really great to honor. So now tell me a little bit more. Putting a movie production obviously is a very complicated thing, and I know you're trying to do this in probably the most professional light possible. Outside of the basic challenges of the actual filmmaking, what other challenges do you feel that you're facing in the production of this film?
Zombies are very popular right now, and getting people on board so far has not been an issue because everybody wants to be in a zombie film. But from the independent perspective, it's most of the people who want to come together and give you and donate things to you, like property or their time and stuff like that, assume that that's all it takes to make a film, and it doesn't. So the biggest obstacle we've come into is is finances, because everything costs money. Even if something's free, something about it's going to cost money. And so far, we've been really lucky with people giving us locations for free. We barely have to pay for any locations we have, and we have some great locations. But the biggest obstacle is just finding good locations we can get, and then making sure we have the money to afford them. Like downtown areas and cities cost money because you have to have off-duty police officers and stuff like that. And then that and getting people together is the biggest issue, because you got a lot of people who will just agree to do something or get excited about it in the moment, but when it gets down to brass tacks, it's trying to wrangle everybody together has been sort of the issue, because it's independent.
Right.
That's been the biggest issue.
And getting people to commit. Do you have a formula for that? Do you maybe have a contract, or just what do you feel? What are you telling them they're going to get in return?
For the people who donate their time and stuff like that, unless they're like a lead actor, because not a lot of people. A lot of this is volunteer work. Mm-hmm. Anybody who works on the film is going to get an IMDb credit, stuff like that, which is and that means that's every single extra. If we have 150 extras in one scene, every single one of them is going to get an IMDb credit, which is unheard of. Most films don't even put their extras on IMDb at all. And it is IMDb, which is a very popular, but it's also very user-friendly. But we're trying to give them as much credit as possible for the film, because it's a big deal, and we want to get everybody a reel with the film as well. But it's pretty much exposure. It's what we're trying to entice people with. Is getting out there, and then the chance to work with us on our next project. Because this will lead on to bigger and better things while we're trying to also make this a big and awesome thing as well.
Very cool. What are you using in terms of marketing, or what do you plan on using in terms of marketing to help push the production and then eventually market to production?
Well, right now we have Facebook and Twitter, which facebook.com/Zombie Royale movie, and then Twitter, Zombie Royale. And we do have a website that is up and coming. It's not ready yet. It's just zombieroyale.com. But right now we're just using the Facebook and Twitter. And later on down the road, we do have a YouTube channel. We'll be marketing through that as well. We're when it comes to the actual film, we're trying to go for a theatrical release, but that's got to go through festival circuit and then picked up by a distributor.
Okay. Now let's talk about equipment a little bit. What kind of equipment are you using to shoot the film?
Dream Media Productions, which is an independent production company, which also did they work on Walking? What did they work on? They've worked with HBO in the past, and they've done a lot of other independent films, and they're a very good company. I don't know exactly what the cameras and stuff they're bringing to the film, but I do believe they have some very, very nice equipment. They're a very big independent company.
Sweet.
For being independent. And
now, are they donating time, or how's that working? Like, what are they offering to you outside of possibly
their
equipment?
entire crew. They have a 20-man crew.
Wow.
And they're
Awesome.
from Delaware. They're not here yet, but
Okay.
they're based out of Delaware, and then they're looking to break into the Atlanta scene, and they want Zombie Royale to be their breakout movie.
Nice. Now, cameras, lighting. Now you have a crew of 20, which is fantastic. Post-production. That's gonna be a fairly big challenge too. Yes. So, have you prepared for that yet? Is that part of your pre-production preparedness, or is that something that you can tackle once you do production? I have friends who are doing their own independent projects, and what they're doing is, well, we did all the shooting, we kind of figured out how to do that, and now we need money for post. So what they've done is do Kickstarters and indie pop, and gathering funds in that way. So, do you have a plan for that yet?
Well, one good thing about this film is that we are keeping things very based in the real world. We're not using a lot of CGI because we want to keep it classic and classy. That's what we want to do. No, we are using some CGI. It's going to happen. But we're trying to keep things classic, which is good because when it comes to editing, you're not going to have to do as much.
Right.
We're also going to try to pull a Peter Jackson and try to edit stuff same day as much as possible. I don't know if you know Peter Jackson and Kevin Smith actually do that as well. They edit stuff while they're on set. And I like to do that as much as possible because I want to see what I've done. And
so I hear you're doing Premiere as far as your post. Or at least the editing that you're doing.
The film will be edited on Final Cut.
Okay.
The film, yeah. I personally use Premiere, but we'll be editing with Dream Media, and we'll be using Final Cut.
Okay.
And but as far as music and stuff like that goes, and sound and stuff, that is being prepared by our head composer, which is Lawrence Moore. You know him.
Mm-hmm. And
he's doing the music for that, and the music that we're looking for in the film is sort of a bluesy type music where it's keeping on the long lines with like Hank Williams and then sort of just acoustic music.
Okay.
That's the
so is the film based in Georgia, even though a lot of places are filming in Georgia, but they're not saying it's Georgia, they're saying it's somewhere else. So is that what are you doing?
It's literally not even mentioned where it is, but it's obvious it's in Georgia in the South. But yeah, it's not mentioned. It's like I didn't want to like force exposition anything like this is where you are because you need to know where you are because it includes some sort of relevance to the film. And so we didn't even include
it. And this is my own personal question. Is there even a mention in terms of the cause of why there is even zombies in this zombie world of yours?
It's not mentioned outright. It's not forced to the viewer, but it's there. It's covered. It's not something that just.
And I don't want you to reveal anything. That's going to give away any kind of loops or spoilers and stuff. But yeah,
there's a twist at the end of the film that has to do with the virus. But ultimately, it is covered, like I said, but it's not outright.
Well, I heard a
explained.
rumor that the cure is marshmallows. Is that right? No.
Stay puffed only. Stay puffed only. Yeah.
But you have to superheat it with proton accelerators.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, that's expensive.
Yeah. So we found the Keymaster earlier.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you guys are working on this new project. I heard a lot of good things about the first one, and I'll try and get some footage from you to see if we have any bits of the first one, so we can take a peek at it in the show. But I want to wish you lots of luck, and I hope you guys get a great production going. I hope that everything lines up, because I know it's a very difficult thing when you're trying to do everything in an independent fashion. But that's also kind of what I find interesting and powerful about something like this, is that you're pursuing a dream and you're not allowing anything to stop you from pursuing it. So, you don't know how things work, yet you're tackling it. You didn't have to go to school and find this very specific formula. You're creating your own formula. And part of that is what I think is inspiring about independent producers, and what is making this crazy movement that's happening in the entertainment industry right now is all this independent thought and still being able to accomplish the goal. Because a lot of folks, at least in the old days, and the reason I wanted to do The Lounge, for example, is in the old days you couldn't afford to do it. You just dreamt about it, and you say, well, one day I'll move to Hollywood, and one day I'm going to be an actor. And meanwhile, here we are in Georgia, which nobody would have thought that even there's an industry in Georgia, although it is a growing industry, and it's impressive how fast it's happening. But you're making it happen regardless of all that. And that's I give you props and credit to all of you for even just joining a team of independent thinking and allowing yourselves to take those risks, even though it's not something you wanted to do to begin with. So thank you so much for coming. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you've learned a little bit of something of all the things that he's had to tackle. And if you too want to do your own film productions and stuff, here's the proof that it can be done. So thank you again. And thank you guys for watching. Have a great night.